My name is Devonric Johnson, but my friends call me Dee Dee, so you can call me Dee Dee. All right, Webster's Dictionary defines a hero as a man who is admired for his great quality, great courage, and achievements. A hero should give others heart, empowerment, respect, and opportunity. And my hero is my brother, Sterling Harris. I'm going to tell you why he's my hero. But first, let me tell you how it all began. All right, let me paint a picture for you. It's Christmas morning. I'm running downstairs, and I see all my Christmas presents under the Christmas tree. And my stocking is full to the brim. My mom and dad are standing behind me with big smiles on their faces. Later on, we have our traditional Christmas breakfast. And I'm sorry, I might be skinny, but I love to eat. It's a feast, a spread. Homemade biscuits with gravy, jelly, eggs, salmon, cheese grits, and my favorite, crispy bacon. Yeah. I love Christmas breakfast. I play with my toys after stuffing myself and hang out with my family. It's a great day. I love Christmas. Unfortunately, guys, that's Sterling's story when he was 8 years old. Now, when I was 8 years old, I woke up on Christmas morning and I was cold. There was no Christmas tree or Christmas presents. A great Christmas for us would include running water, indoor plumbing, and warm food on the table. I lived in a small, rundown storage shed with 3 other people. My brother, Vontae, my biological brother, we shared an old twin bed with a mattress that was heavily stained and soiled with sweat and had a strong odor from what other people had left behind. Somehow your senses got used to the smell so that you can move on with life. What I really wanted for Christmas was for school to start to begin. I enjoyed the warm, clean classrooms, the bathrooms with running water, the lunchroom. You could get 5 good meals one day of the week if you're on the lunch program. Going hungry during the holidays was a problem sometimes. But if you could survive on the streets, then you could make it. I was born out of wedlock. Now, you ready for this? I was born in prison. I never knew my parents growing up. As a matter of fact, my dad did come by once when I was 5 to drop off some Christmas sympathy gifts, but I hadn't seen him since. My mom, she was a drug addict. She died in prison. So my aunt took care of me. My Aunt Marie, great lady. It was great living with her. She gave me everything I needed and wanted. Plenty of love, a nice home, cars, clothes, money. Everything was great until her husband had a tragic heart attack and died. She got severely depressed, got overwhelmed with bills and grief, and ended up having a nervous breakdown. This caused our lives to spin out of control. Mother Aunt Lillian came to live with us to try to help out, but it wasn't enough. So when I was 6 years old, my life completely changed. My aunt owned a piece of land that was out in the middle of nowhere, so neighbors were non-existent. She became a pack rat. And have you seen the show Hoarders on A&E? Okay, imagine the worst episode. That's exactly how I lived. We lived in a junkyard. It was full of old cars, cans, washing machines. The house we owned got repossessed, and the 4 of us were forced to move into a 15 by 15 storage shed, in which I call the shack, on this piece of land. Now, the shack, I want you to envision rotten wood everywhere. There were huge gaps and cracks in the walls, so it felt like you're outside when you're inside. The roof leaked, which caused mildew inside the shack. We had no running water, no electricity, and no gas. If we wanted water, we had to get it from a well that was next to our property. If we wanted electricity, we had to siphon it from an electricity pole that was next to our property, and later I learned we did it without permission. If we wanted to eat, we had an old makeshift stove that was on cinder blocks outside that my aunt had. Now, if we wanted to wash our clothes or take a bath, you ever seen the old Westerns with the old aluminum tub and get in there and take a bath and stuff like that? That's exactly what we used. Now, this is real vivid. If we wanted to use the restroom, we had to use a 5-gallon bucket. And when that bucket got midway to halfway full, me and my brother had to take it out back about 100 yards and dump it. So in the summertime, when the air became still, or the wind came across, the stench of urine and feces, if you can only imagine. My conditions were so poor that I came down with mono in the 5th grade and had to miss an entire month of school. Unimaginable living conditions. I started playing sports in the 6th grade, and I found out that I was a natural athlete, and I had a camaraderie with other athletes. And I also realized that I didn't want to go back to where I was living. You know, I was a social outcast. I had no friends because I was embarrassed about how I lived and where I lived. So I chose to live on the streets. So I created a double life. On one hand, I excelled in school and sports, and on the other hand, I craved social acceptance and only found it on the streets. So when I had practice, I'll give you a picture, when I had practice and school was over, I never had a ride home, so I had to walk 10 miles or hitchhike daily to get to my home, in which I've done it so many times I can't even tell you. So instead, I started staying with my friend Jimmy, who lived about a block and a half away from school. Now, staying over his house, it was fun, but his mom was a single mother or single parent, and she left us unattended at night. And when you're 9 or 10 and you have no supervision and you get bored, you try to find things to do. And what we did, we ran the streets. You know, at that time, I was a hardened kid. I quickly gained a reputation for being crazy and fearless and tough and strong. Don't mess with that guy right there. And because of that, people were attracted to me. I started getting in trouble more and more. I started moving up the ranks in street life and got involved with gangs. So you think about what gangsters do or done, I'd done it all before the age of 13. My life was headed down a one-way path of destruction. However, the one thing that was consistent in my life since I was a little kid was school. School was my escape. It was my sanctuary. It was one place I could shine. And as a matter of fact, I scored the highest score on the TOS test. I think you guys call it TEX. Yeah, in the entire state of Texas. I got to meet Governor Ann Richards. She gave me a big blue ribbon. But when school was over, it was back to hell for me. Thank God for football. When I started playing football, my entire life changed. I met positive friends. People looked up to me, and that's where I met Sterling. Me and Sterling had a lot in common. We were both exceptional athletes and great students. I started hanging out with Sterling more and more. Sterling, unlike Jimmy, had a much healthier upbringing and was way more grounded. His parents were strict and disciplined, but loving and caring. And they kind of had this lifestyle that I always wanted. I would go over to his house, and since I was a master manipulator, I would try to get him to do bad things, and his parents were like, no, not over here. When you're over here, you can have a good time. But when it's time for you to go, you got to go. But if you're going to stay here, you have no choice but to follow our rules. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of intense. You know, I was used to doing my own things. I had no supervision. But if I wanted a better life, I had to listen to what they had to say. And I love Sterling. But if it wasn't for Sterling, I wouldn't be here today to talk to you guys about heroes. Sterling and the Harrises are my heroes because they saved my life. Now, I graduated from Terrell High School in the top 5% of my class. Went on and got a college football scholarship to SMU and graduated from SMU with an economics finance degree. And went on into entertainment, in which I am now, and I live in Los Angeles. But if it wasn't for my parents, my teachers, my coaches, and Sterling, my friend, now my sibling, I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. I know you guys have heroes too, whether big or small, whether they did something significantly large or minute in your life, it doesn't matter. They're your hero because they're a positive influence. So when you think about yourself today, think about me. You deserve the same heart, empowerment, respect, and opportunity that I got. Thank you.